Thank you. Good evening, all. I welcome you to this Master Knowledge Series EEE 4.0 of ICSI. As you all are aware that Institute of Company Secretaries of India is a professional premier body functioning under the jurisdiction of MCA. And where on one hand, the ministry undertakes various activities to develop the law and legislations, and we as ICSI, through our members, ensure the compliances of this law in true letter and spirit. A core agenda that drives the initiative of ministry is that the promoting ease of doing business, and one major medium to have some digital transformation. And if senior members of the brigade has witnessed, we have seen the senior members who are members of ICSI have witnessed the compliances going from huge, I would say, paper files to the completely paperless system ecosystem right now on MCA. And we have also witnessed the young brigade, MCA version 1, version 2, version 3. Under version 3 also, this is the third phase, first phase, second phase, and third phase, wherein in the third phase, around 9 forms has been introduced as a part of the e-initiative of the MCA-21. Friends, in 2022, MCA V3 was 21-22. MCA version V3 was launched by MCA, and with the help of using technology and simplifying the compliances for companies and LLPs, they are going ahead and giving various other forms also going ahead. And we expect that these forms would be definitely help all of us, provided the technology works properly. And this time we came to know that extensive user interface and testing has been done. So we expect lesser errors than the earlier attempts of the e-forms. As we intend to open today's discussion, deliberation on the third phase, the Institute feels privileged to have a shared journey that has brought us, all of us, to this date. And more than I just want to update all of you that more than 20 professionals has been designated for the purpose of UAT testing. And even as we speak, they are on job for the next phase from ICSI side for the MCA-21 V3 implementation. I would extend. I would also like to extend the our heartful thanks and gratitude towards the ministry for very two significant matters on which the ICSI was representing from time and again. And friends, the request as regards multiple filing of V3 KYC, DIR3 KYC for updation of personal mobile number and email address. And we from ICSI side are thankful for this big relief to all the stakeholders. And second was gratitude to the Secretary MCA, Shri Manoj Govilji, that with him the entire staff of MCA for giving opportunity to ICSI to make representations taking one set of rules at a time and together dwelling deeper into the finer nuances of the law, so that the practical difficulties which we were facing and various amendments which professionals and corporates were expecting were taken with open mind and open hearts, and we are sure those would be part of the new law soon. Coming back to the topic of today, during the first phase and second phase, total 65 forms were launched, and 9 forms launched in this third phase are taking the tally up to 74. As we deliberate the practicalities and technicalities of these forms, I invite our Honorable President, CSB Narasimhan sir, to address the delegates before we hand it over to the MCA people. I also welcome Manoj Pandey sir, Additional Secretary MCA. I welcome you, sir. President sir, request you to please take over, unmute, and sir, please unmute, sir. Narasimhan sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Chanda, Pawan Chandak ji, respected Sri Manoj Pandey ji, Additional Secretary, officers of MCA present over here, and team LTMI who is going to give the presentation. At the outset, let me extend my heartfelt thanks to Ministry for the notification allowing multiple filing of DAR3 KYC for change of mobile number, email ID, etc. I think that's likely to get simplified, although at a marginal cost, but that's worth the effort in terms of what we were not able to do will get done. We are also associated with the ministry with the World Bank for preparation of Be Ready and that is the Business Ready report. We are thankful and we already submitted our report to the ministry. Today's program is basically to set up the launch of the forms, nine forms, the details of which you will get to know soon. And this is a direction, and here in this case, I mean, unlike the past, MCA has done a lot of testing. We expect that it should not take much, it should not provide any great difficulty for the members. But nevertheless, if you do have, we will always take it up on behalf of you with the ministry as well. So with the team LTMI, I would rather say. Well, the 9 forms, I mean, Pawan Chandak has been kind enough to share his time for the rules amendment which has come by where the presentation has been made. So we understand that the rules are also likely to get changed soon, but anyway, we'll have to wait for that. And I thank once again. I think I'm sure the members will benefit from today's program. The chat box is available for raising any question, and the moderator will take it forward in terms of seeking guidance from the panelists. Thank you. Over to you, Pawan.
Thank you, President Sir. Thanks for the apt address to all the delegates. We thank you. I take this opportunity to welcome Sri Manoj Pandey ji. I would love to introduce him. He is a constant companion in the ICSI journey, and I feel proud to share that he marks his presence on the Central Council of ICSI as a government nominee. His words of appreciation and advice are always cherished and look forward to. Our heartiest welcome to you, sir, once again at ICSI. I would request you to please address the delegates, sir. Manoj Pandey, sir. Sir, you have to unmute, please.
Good afternoon, President ICSI, Mr. Narasimhan, the council member, CS Pawan Chandak, and all other members of the institute and my professional friends. We have launched another set of forms. Let me also inform that initially 20 LLP forms were launched, and thereafter 9 company forms were launched. Another 56 sets of forms were launched in companies. Now another 9 forms have been launched. So we are at 90 plus now. I think Pawan ji, you have not counted LLP forms, which were launched early in March 22 itself. So now we have crossed 90 plus, and we are now in the process of launching remaining few forms from V2 to V3. That's a transition process. Now in V3, as you know, that the entire process of the filing has changed. It's a web-based filing, it's online filing. There are validations which are happening on net itself. And since these are the initial days of launch, there could be some first teething problems could be, and also there could be lack of understanding on the part of professionals on the new validations, on the new forms and the new ways of filing. We are here to help along with ICSI, all the professional friends. I'll request ICSI to handhold all the professionals who are in fact in the process of filing the forms as far as these 9 forms are concerned, and going forward when the another sets of forms would be launched. As all are aware that ICSI and Chartered Account Institutes. Both were partners while we were discussing the launch of these forms all along. We will request the Council of ICSI to educate all the stakeholders, not only on the new form filing process, but also the new sets of rules. So that's very important, because the more we educate, the more we learn, and more the process would become easier. As Mr. Narasimhan said, that we have amended the rules under Director KYC, and in last 1-2 years, many rules were amended on the request of ICSI, so that the stakeholders are greatly facilitated. Without taking much of your time, I will request the LTI team and ICSI team to take the proceedings forward and guide the professionals through the new way of filing. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thanks all for your support, particularly the council members, the president, the council member, CS Pavan, and the vice president. All I deserve thanks from my side and from ministry side. As you are aware, you are also in the process of the discussions which are taking place on refinement of the rules wherever they are required. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, sir. It means a lot for all of us at ICSI. I would now request Sri Sanjay Jainji, Director MCA, to please address the delegates.
Good afternoon to all of you. First, I would like to appreciate the effort of ICSI team for organizing such webinar for the awareness, education, and spreading awareness among the stakeholders. These stakeholders are the backbone of the MCA, and the system which LTIM team is making is basically for the ICSI users, company secretary, chartered accountant, and the various stakeholders. Our LTIM team is tirelessly working day and night for making all the forms glitch-free. We e-governance team are also available to assist in all respects. My dear friends, the IPF form and the other forms which we have launched with effect from 15th of July, we would like to understand the procedure before filing the form. The main thing is required the registration process for filing a form. As far as the other than the IPF form is concerned, all the users already have registered in V3. If there is a possibility, some of the users who were filing the IPF 5 form on the V2 users. Certain procedure for the nodal officer has also been changed. Our LTI team is endeavored to provide all possible efforts. Also, our ICSI team is hand-holding the stakeholders. And our e-governance other officers are also available for any type of help. It is possible that during the initial phase, some of the users are facing problem. Maybe these may be due to some awareness or some basically the feature which you have introduced. All the things will be well explained by the LTIM team and the company secretaries under the LTI team. Not taking too much time, I request ICSI to carry this webinar forward. Thank you, my dear friends.
Thank you, Jain sir. Now I request Sri R.C. Mishra sir, Joint Director MCA, to please address the delegates.
Good afternoon to all. This is really a good initiative by ICSI Institute, and we expect more and more webinars to be conducted in this line. And friends, as already indicated by President and our SARs, this time we have made a lot of user interface, so we expect it is a smooth deployment. And for these 9 forms, particularly I want to share, is a detailed presentation we have prepared by the service provider, which is going to be happen. So I don't want to spoil more time because that we'll discuss there for my form and what are the enhancement and how it will be smoothly it will be deployed. That thing we can discuss. With these few words, I'll once again thanks to ICSI Institute and thanks to all.
Thank you, Mishra sir. I request Sri Vivek, Deputy Director MCA, to kindly address the delegates.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think much of what has to be said has already been covered by senior officers. So I won't take much time. Only request is that any question related to the forms that are being launched and the processes of how they have to be filed may kindly be asked by all the stakeholders. Technical issue related questions with the earlier launch form may not kindly be entered in at this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Ms. Mansi Gokhale, Madam, Assistant Director MCA, to please address. Mansi Gokhale, Madam.
Good afternoon, everybody, all the company secretaries and my seniors. It is a privilege that we are introducing all these 9 forms today, and I hope they go glitch free. Also, good luck filing these forms. So I don't want to take more time, and I hope e-governance section will be helpful if there are any problems related to these forms.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. I really appreciate everybody's presence from the e-governance cell, all the right from Manoj Pandey sir till Mansi Gokhale, Madam. Before we move towards the technical presentation by the LTI team, I would like to remind all my dear professional delegates, colleagues, that the applications for ICSI National Awards for Excellence in Corporate Governance have been opened for the year 2024. And we solicit your applications under 24th ICSI National Awards for Excellence in Corporate Governance, then 9th ICSI CSR Excellence Awards, then 3rd ICSI Business Responsibility and Sustainability Award, and the Lifetime ICSI Lifetime Achievement Award. The last date to apply in all the categories 14th of August 2024. And for further information, please visit the web portal of ICSI. So let us begin the another session of learning of the Master Knowledge Series EEE4. For this, I would like to welcome the members of LTI team, Ms. Seema Malhotra, Domain Head, and Ms. Vijaya Gampena, Domain Consultant, who are here with us to provide insights into the procedures of filing these forms and to address potential issues along with the resolutions that may arise during the filing of these recently launched forms. So I would request Ms. Seema Malhotra and Ms. Vijaya Madam to please take over.
Good afternoon, all. This is Seema Malhotra, and I am from LTIM. I'll be the one who will be making the presentation. Then, after the closure of presentation, we would be happy enough to take up all the queries which has been raised by the stakeholders. Sir, just for the convenience part, just let me know once my screen is visible and once PPT is visible to you. Just guide me on that.
Definitely. Please start the share.
I hope my screen is visible
now. Screen
and
is...
the PPT is also visible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, learned members and the officials of e-governance. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present our case and to make everybody understand that how the procedures for this 9 forms will go. So I'll start off with giving the presentation that what the form is all about, what all enhancement which has taken up in the form in these 9 forms. So the total number of forms which are there in set 3 drop 1 is are 9 forms, out of which 6 are IPF forms and 3 are company forms. The forms which has been now launched for IPFA, you will see in the list of the forms which are being presented out here, there's a missing of IPF 7 and IPF 3. You will not see in the this particular list of IPF forms. Now, just to inform to my
I'm not getting your voice. Seema madam. Seema madam, your voice is not coming. I think there is a technical issue. She will join back.
Right. So, Vijaya, if there is an issue with connection from Seema ji, I think maybe you can take over the presentation.
Yes, sir. I'm just checking with Seema. Just
Okay.
give me a minute.
Okay.
Sir, she's connecting in a minute.
Yeah. Yes, please.
I'm sorry, I was told that I got disconnected. I was continuing with the PPT. I'll just give me a minute. I hope I am audible to all.
Yeah. Now audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Seema.
My screen is visible?
Yes.
Vijaya?
Yes, Seema.
Okay, should I start from the beginning?
From this slide. Yeah.
So as of now, we have launched 9 forms, out of which 6 are IPF forms, and 3 are other company forms. So if you will see the list of the forms which I have displayed on the screen, you will see that there are only 6 forms which are there for related to IPF. However, you will not see IPF 7 and IPF 3 in this particular list, because these forms have been discontinued in V3 regime, and it has been now merged with IPF1 and IPF4 respectively. So the name of IPF1, if you see, it has got statement of account amounts credited to IPF, which was the earlier name of the IPF1 form. Another name which has been attached is or transfer of amounts on account of share transfer to the fund. So now IPF1 will have 2 purposes. one which will be related to any action with related to IPF1, another action related to IPF7. IPF1A, it is the statement of amounts credited to Investor Education and Protection Fund. IPF2, statement of unclaimed and unpaid amounts and detail of nodal officer, which is required to be submitted by the stakeholders. Then this is IPF4, which talks about statement of share transferred and information of shares and unclaimed or unpaid dividend not transferred to IPF, which was majorly was the purpose for IPF3. Now, as I told you that IPF3 has merged with IPF4, now the name and nomenclature of IPF4 has also changed. IPF5 is application to the authority for claiming unpaid amounts and share out of the Investor Education and Protection Fund. And IPF5 relates to e-verification report, which is an online verification report, which is required to be submitted by the nodal officer. Just to bring to everybody's attention that now IPF5 is a link form of IPF5, which though may be filled in by two separate stakeholders, but IPF against an IPF5, IPF5 e-verification report will be filed by the nodal officer by accessing his application portal on the application dashboard on MCA portal. Then there is another three company forms are MSME, that is a form for furnishing half-yearly return with the registrar in respect of outstanding payments to micro or small enterprises. Then BEN2 is the return to the registrar in respect of declaration under Section 90. And MGT6 is a return to the registrar in respect of declaration under Section 89 received by the company. Now the key enhancement with related to this 15 July go live is the form has been now made web-based, thereby reducing the manual efforts. Linkages of form basis the purposes of filing the form and option selected. Now, when I'm saying the linkages, in all these 9 forms, only IPF5 e-verification report is a link form to IPF5 form. So I just wanted to bring it to the notice of everyone, the company secretaries who are also working as a nodal officer or deputy nodal officer in the system. They are required to upgrade, which I'll take up later on also. But just to bring it to everybody's notice that whatever forms or e-verification reports which are required to be filed by nodal officer or deputy nodal officer will be possible once they upgrade themselves or add the nodal officer / deputy nodal officer role in their profile. Once they do it, then all the forms filed by the stakeholders previously or currently in V3 regime also will be visible to them for filing of IPF e-verification report. Then auto pre-filling of common fields across forms, ensuring data consistency and consistency and effort reduction. Form field optimization by removal of duplicate / redundant fields. Minimization of attachments by introducing of fields. Declaration in form of digital attachments. Addition of field level validation, thereby minimizing the efforts at the time of filing. The maximum size of individual attachment has been increased to 2 MB. However, the overall form size has been increased to 10 MB. But for a few IPF5 forms where the attachment size could be very huge, there we have given the provision to the stakeholders to file the attachments up to the level of 200 MB also. I am talking about here, when I'm talking about 200 MB size, I am talking about the investor related information which is required to be filed along with various IPF forms. So user registration and login highlights, it has all the stakeholders who are present out here are professionals and already aware of the current procedures that how the registration is module or registration process has to take place. But for IPF5, for filing of IPF5, the stakeholders need not be a business user. Even a registered user can go ahead and can register himself in V3, can register themselves in V3 and they can proceed ahead and access the form from the MCA portal, and then they can proceed ahead with the filing of IPF 5 form. Just to bring to notice of everyone and for knowledge of every stakeholder who is not associated with the MCA portal as of now, and particularly I'm talking about the claimants who are not coming in the capacity of professional. They will get themselves registered as a normal user, and they can proceed ahead and file the IPF 5 form. If you are already registered in V2 portal as a registered user, you can come and upgrade yourself or get yourself aligned to V3 registration process. The second role, where there is certainly there is a change which has taken place besides whatever is mentioned out here, that nodal officer, the people who are already a business user in the MCA portal, for them to access the IN, and I am repeating this point again and again, it is because of the reason, because many of the stakeholders are raising this concern that they are unable to file IPF e-verification report. It is because of the reason that they have not added the role of nodal officer in their business user profile. They are required to add that role, and once that role gets added, then in that case they will become then they will be able to access the IPF 5 form, and they'll be able to submit the e-verification report against that particular IPF 5 form, because IPF e-verification report form is not an independent form. It is a linked form to IPF 5 form in V3 regime. You will be able to view, once you register yourself as a nodal officer or deputy nodal officer, then in that case you will be able to view all the SRNs which are there, for which are required, where IPF e-verification report is required to be filed for V2 filled form also. And just for the information of all the stakeholders, the maximum SRNs which can be displayed on application history is 250. However, once you put the search of any SRN, if you are unable to see or view, then in that case you can put that SRN in search functionality, and you'll be able to access that particular SRN. So these pointers I'm giving, just that you don't feel stuck while using the system. Now I will show the highlights which are there for all the forms which are required to be filed. The processing of this particular form has been converted to STP. Earlier also it was STP. However, for IPF 7, it was always a non-STP form. Now, by merging of both these forms, the entire process of IPF 1 and IPF 7 has been converted to STP mode. The due date of filing is 30 days from the date by which amount should have been credited to the funds, whatever you are providing in field 5. And if there are multiple dates, then the earliest date will be considered for the for calculating the additional fees. Similarly, the date of declaration of dividend, what field 4B, which is will be considered if you are providing any information for the dividend related details, that is for IPF 7. So now I'll come out to the enhancements. The form has been made web based. All the forms have been made web based in V3 regime. The respective Excel templates showing the investor-wise details shall be uploaded as a mandatory attachment in the form itself. Before I proceed ahead, I think all the users whosoever has dealt in IPF 5 forms are aware of the current functionality or the functionality of V2. In V2, first the form used to be filed. The payment with regard to the form is required to be paid by the stakeholder, and then he were required to go to the miscellaneous fees and make the payment towards the fund requirement, and they were required to affix their DSC and submit the form. And after the submission of the form, the stakeholders were required to opt for the FO service, where they used to add or attach the investor wise detail for the people for which they have transferred the funds to the account of IPFA. Now in V3, The process has changed altogether. The process is that you are required to attach the investor wise detail Excel in the form itself. Then once your form gets filed, for once your form you had attached the Excel, there'll be a you won't be able to proceed ahead with the edit of the form. Then what will happen in through the at the back end of the system, and will take some time. The status of the form will change from pending for the validation of the Excel. System will check whether whatever amounts you have provided in the form itself has been matching with the information which you have provided in the Excel. So you have to make sure that whatever amounts you are providing in the form, IPFA1 form, then the similar figure should be matched with the details which you are providing in Excel, investor wise Excel. Because if you don't do that, then the system will validate it and will throw an error that the validation has failed. You will get 7 days time period in which you can do any n number of you can submit n number of investor wise details, but after 7 days the form will stand cancelled if you do not submit the investor wise detail within this 7 days period. So where you are required to submit the investor wise detail, you have to wait for the validation to happen from the back end, and once the validation happens, then you'll be allowed to proceed ahead for submitting the PDF generated for PDF DSCFX PDF and make the payments towards the form. So I am reading out what is written out here. The respective Excel template showing the investor wise detail shall be uploaded as a mandatory attachment in the form itself. Further, the details filed in Excel will be validated with the respective figures entered in the form. Unless the Excel is validated, the stakeholder will not be able to proceed ahead with the payment of fees. The stakeholder will not be able to edit the form after Excel validation. You are allowed to do that, but once you edit the form, then whatever Excel validation has happened through the backend system, it'll happen once again. The size of Excel has been increased to 200 MB, consisting of 40 Excel of 5 MB each. So another enhancement is that in the current form, what was happening is that your system was not allowing you to put in a date in case of merger or amalgamation, a date which was beyond the date of incorporation of the company. However, as an enhancement, if you are a company which has been merged or some other company which has been merged and you want to provide the SRN of SRN of IPF2 or any other previous forms, then you will be allowed to do that, and you will be able to put in a date which was the beyond the date of incorporation of the company. Now BSIN option has been enabled in these forms, so any bank which is required to file or submit their funds into IPFA, they need not have to do it through physical mode. Now they'll be allowed to proceed ahead with the BSIN option, and they will be allowed to fill in the form. The status of the form will change to under processing after the payment of fees and the transfer of fund to IPFA. Provisionally, so we have also provided a provision in IPF forms, all the IPF forms, that any company which is under the status of liquidation or insolvency status, they will also be allowed to fill in the form. That means the IRP, RP, and liquidator can be one of the signatories for these particular forms. As I told you earlier also, that IPF7 has now merged with IPF1. So similarly, the payment process which was there in 7, now it has been done away with, because earlier you were required to first make the payment to the fund and then you come ahead and provide the UTR number. And because of that, many of the stakeholders were facing these issues, and the process was also non-STP in that particular case. Now the payment process has also changed for IPF7 form, which is now as per IPF1 form. There are another enhancements which are there in the form, which is pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. So whenever the validations are happening, That will be for the betterment of the form as well as the data which has been provided by the stakeholder while capturing that and putting that into the MCA database. IPFA 1A form was always processed in STP form. It was a form. Now there is no due date for the filing of this particular form. It was a form which was introduced for providing investor-wise detail to the IPFA for the forms which has been filed earlier prior to 2019. So there is no due date applicable. Form has been made web-based. There will be a restriction for filing multiple filings against one IPF1 or one NV form. So this is the restriction which we have provided, because then if you provide multiple Excels, then it will become a problem for the IPFA and also for the database that which Excel to be considered while validating the data for the stakeholder, for the claimant who's going to come over to the system and want to claim his funds. So that is why there is a restriction which has been put that against one IPFA1 or one NV form, there will be only one IPF1A. And similarly, the rule which I have told to you with regard to Excel template, which will now become a part and parcel of the form itself, the same rule what I have told you earlier in IPF1 form, the similar rule will apply to all the Excels which are being submitted at varied point of times with various forms. So the respective Excel template showing the investor-wise details shall be uploaded as a mandatory attachment in the form itself. Further, the details filled in Excel will be validated with the respective figures entered in the form. Unless the Excel is validated, the stakeholder will not be able to proceed ahead with the payment of fees. The stakeholder will not be able to edit the form after Excel validation. And the size has increased to 200 MB, as I told you when I started my PPT. And there are another enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. Now I'll come to IPF2. There is no change in IPF2 except for the enhancement which I've been telling. The form is being processed in STP mode in V2 regime also, and V3 also it is being processed in STP mode. The due date for filing of IPF2 form for the appointment of nodal officer or updation, it is 7 days from the date of board resolution, and similarly for the deputy nodal officer. However, for statement of unclaimed and unpaid amounts, it is 60 days from the date of AGM of statement of unclaimed and unpaid amounts. From the date of AGM, you are required to fill in IPF2 form. The enhancements which are there is form has been made web-based. Excel may need I go in detail more. I have already explained that what will be the rule which will be applied for all the Excels. So I'll skip that for the sake of time. Then there was no functionality for and we have got this requirement from various nodal officers. So what was happening is that one person who's a nodal officer is not allowed to be appointed in any other company other than if there is a relationship of holding and subsidiary company. So that is the enhancement which we have provided in V3 system, that one person can be a nodal officer of both holding and subsidiary company. And there are similar other enhancements, that is pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. IPF4 is, as I told you, that IPF3 got merged with IPF4 form. So that is why the nomenclature of form, you will also see that it has got some portion of IPF3 form also. Now the form shall be processed in STP mode. The date which is applicable for 1 to 4 purposes, which is related to IPF4, then the date is 30 days from the date of corporate action to demat account. Then 30 days from the close of financial year, that is for if the case is that you want to provide an information of shares and unpaid or unclaimed dividend not transferred to IPF. The form has been made web-based. Excel will have enhanced functionality. Now it will go as an attachment. BCN option has been enabled as it is there in IPF one form. Now banks will also be allowed, or will also be able to fill in the form for any information with regard to statement of share transferred, or information of shares and unclaimed or unpaid dividend not transferred to the IPF. Now, in similar way, the way we have provided the functionality for merger and amalgamation cases, the system will allow the date to be entered beyond the date of incorporation of the company. The IPF3 has now merged with IPF4. Previously, the processing of IPF3 form was non-STP. Now it has been merged with IPF4 form. Now the processing of this particular form is non-STP. And there are other enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. Now, let me come to the one of the most used form, that is application to the authority for claiming unpaid amounts and shares out of the investor education and protection fund. The processing of this particular form will remain non-STP. We have provided the due date is not applicable. It is as and when the stakeholder feels they will come over and they will fill in this form. We have provided the dashboard facility to FO user and shall be provided to nodal officer and the deputy nodal officer as well as the applicant also. The claimant shall be able to access the form after login as a registered user also. For V2 users, the SH have to upgrade, the stakeholder has to upgrade their registration in V3, and post login they'll be able to access the form. Now, this is one important point which is required to be detailed out here. So we have seen that, and it has come to our notice also by IPFA, that there has been dispute between the companies and the stakeholder. That stakeholder says that he has submitted the physical copies of the documents, because after filing of IPF5 form, the stakeholders are required to provide the physical copy of the documents submitted by the stakeholder to the nodal officer through physical mode. However, there was always a dispute between the stakeholder and the nodal officer that they have not received the document. So after filling the IPF form 5 by the stakeholder, they will send the physical copies, and they will come to the web. They will now access the web functionality through his application dashboard, where he'll be providing the SRN of IPF5, and they will also attach proof.
Seema, I'll hold you for a minute.
Huh.
See, the common issues which I think which are being reported is that first, they are not able to see e-verification report, where they have to locate, how to file e-verification report, and how to create the user ID password for filing e-verification report. So that you have to specifically address.
Yes, sir. I will be addressing in IPF e-verification report.
E-verification report, you emphasize, stress upon that how to file e-verification report.
Sure, sir. Sir, I will do that.
I'll encourage all users to ask questions where they are facing difficulties. So it's an interactive session where you should ask questions that we are not able to do this, we are not able to do that, so that it gets addressed. So Pavanji, kindly take questions. Apart from, let her take the participants through the presentation, but the session should be interactive, where you should be posing questions, specific questions, that this is not being filed, we are finding difficulty. Then only I think the purpose would be served. But let her first make the presentation.
Yes,
But
I was waiting.
take as many questions you want so that it gets addressed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was waiting.
Proceed.
Sir, thank you. Sir, with regard to your query that how it is to be accessed, that I have covered in e-verification report form. So I'll make them walk through that also. So I was talking about the web facility. So once you have filled in the form, you have submitted the physical forms, physical documents to the nodal officer, then you are, as a claimant, you are required to access that web service, and you have to provide the SRN details and the proof of physical document. The dispatch proof is required to be attached, so that the stakeholder knows, that the nodal officer knows, that you have already dispatched those documents to the company. Form will be processed in critical queue of PO. The attachment corresponding to be data field, that will be indexing of the information will be there. Then there are other enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, and additional checks and balances introduced. Now, e-verification report. This form shall be processed in non-STP mode. The due date of filing the e-verification report is 30 days from the date of submission of the postal receipt by the claimant. The form has been made as a web-based form. Kindly note that, as I've been telling you earlier also, IPF e-verification report is not an independent form. It is a link form, which will be a link form to IPF 5 form. You will not be able to access IPF e-verification report form, since it is not an independent form. Only when IPF 5 form is filed, then on the dashboard of nodal officer, he will see that what all IPF 5 forms has been filed against his company, and once he is able to view that form, he'll be able to submit the e-verification report against that particular SRN. So we have introduced that whatever IPF filing previous years have been done by the stakeholder, that alert will be provided to back office user. Now the fourth point, which is important, which sir was also saying, that what is required to be done. The nodal officer / deputy nodal officers are required to register themselves as business users in the category of nodal / deputy nodal officer. Existing business users are required to upgrade / add to the role of nodal / deputy nodal officer to access the IPF 5 filed by the stakeholder, and file IPF 5 e-verification report against the set form. So I hope that will satisfy the query, the problems which has been faced by various stakeholders. If you are not already a business user, then you are required to register yourself as a business user in the category of nodal / deputy nodal officer. And if you are already existing business user, then you are required and requested to upgrade or add a role of nodal or deputy nodal officer to access IPF 5 form filled in by the stakeholder. So multiple resubs are allowed for the IPF e-verification report. Increase in the file size for 10 MB for attachment part. Nodal officer will file e-verification report from his dashboard against IPF 5. I am again reiterating that you will not be independently be able to file IPF e-verification report, because the process has changed. Then there are other enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. I will now come to the various other company forms which has been introduced along with this particular launching. MSC form is the form for furnishing half-yearly return with the registrar in respect of outstanding payments to micro or small enterprises. This form was always processed in STP mode. In V3 also, it will be processed in STP form. It is a half-yearly form which is to be filed by 31st October for April to September period, and 30th April for October to March period. Form has been made web-based. There was a problem which we have seen in V2 forms, and the various stakeholders has raised this query that in V2 only 99 entries against any of the MSME were allowed. However, in V3 we have introduced the Excel functionality where maximum 100,000 rows can be generated and up to 1,000 line items could be filled in by the stakeholder. Now we have the scope of the form has also increased. Now you have to provide the amount paid within 45 days, paid after 45 days, outstanding for 45 days or less, or outstanding for 45 days or more. And you are also required to provide whether you have made the payment through TREDS or any other mode of payment. The Excel shall become the part of the PDF form. Information fetched from the Excel will be validated in the form itself. Then there are other enhancements like pre-filling of form, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances introduced, and addition of new fields have been added as been suggested by the MCA. MGT6 also is being processed in STP mode. The due date of filing the form is 30 days from the date of receipt of declaration and 60 days in the case of IFSC company. The form has been made web-based. We'll be generating the BOID in the similar lines of SBOID. Why BOID is being generated? Because if you are having a BOID, then if you provide the BOID in the system, and if you want to change anything with regard to the information within the already existing BOID, then you should be able to do that by you put in the BOID, then all the data which are there in the system will get pre-filled in the form itself. So make it easier for the stakeholders to fill in the form. The class-wise details of shares will be captured for each BO. New fields are being added in the form for capturing the details of registered owner and beneficial owner. Then there are other enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, additional checks and balances have been introduced. Now, BEN2 relates to the return to the registrar in respect of declaration under section 90. This form in V2 as well as in V3, it is being processed in STP mode. 30 days, the time period, due date of filing is 30 days from the receipt of declaration from SBO. Form has been made web-based. More or less the functionality of the form is same. However, there are two purposes which are added in the form. One is the change of existing SBO under section 90, and change of existing holding reporting company have been added in the form. Now, these changes means that if you want to discontinue your relationship with that particular SIN, which was not as a functionality in V2, now it has been introduced in V3. But just a small request to all the stakeholders that whenever you are making a changes in SBO, which is as of now is purpose 3, and also you want to exit or discontinue the relationship, just make sure that both the SBO IDs should not be same. Just because system will not allow that. So if you are making a changes against a particular SBO, you cannot discontinue the relationship with that particular SBO, right? SBO. So that is that, and similar thing will happen for purpose 1 and 5 also. So if you are already introducing yourself as a existing holding reporting company, then you cannot go and discontinue your relationship with that. Then there are other enhancements like pre-filling of data, repositioning of fields, and other checks and balances have been introduced. This is all from my side from the PPT aspect.
Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot. There are various questions which has been asked by the delegates who are attending this session. I would request you to please. Thank you. So I'll take all the questions which are related to either IPF or MGT6 or BEN2 or MSAB. So first question is MGT6 related, where it requires distinctive numbers to be quoted mandatorily even in case of demat holding, and also in IPF2 and IPF3 showing as invalid SRN and not been taken into record as of previous year's contact number.
Sir, if there are certain specific issues with regard to that, especially for IPF2 where it is not taking the SRN of IPF3 or IPF4, you can please share those details with us so that we can have a look into it. Otherwise, the system has been configured to take the V2 SRNs also, so that should not be a problem. So if there is certain stakeholders who are facing this issue, we would request you to provide us those details. Then we will look into it specifically and we'll come back with the resolution.
Okay. Can they raise the tickets for that and it would be resolved?
Yeah, it'll be resolved. Let them. They can also share it with us because you'll be maybe preparing the list of issues which are being faced
Yes.
by the stakeholders. They can also raise they should also raise the ticket with regard to that. Maybe the team will handle it. If it is not being handled, we will take the download from here and we'll provide it to the team, and we'll look into it, that what is the possibility.
Okay. And as regards MGT6, that distinctive numbers are made mandatorily even for the demat holding.
Sir, we have to have a look into it because as of now, the way the form has been developed, the distinctive numbers are the mandatory field for the stakeholders to provide. However, for the DMAT details, we'll look into it and we'll come back to you on this aspect.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Another on MGT6 is beneficial interest held by the company, whereas no radio button coming for filing CIN of the company. And further, in point 5, sub point P, father's name is mandatory radio button and no tab coming for authorized representative.
For the when you are saying, sir, field 5, is it with regard to the beneficial owner, or is it coming with the for the registered owner?
Registered owner, beneficial
Sir,
interest held.
sir, registered owner may, if you see somebody will go and have a look into the form, we have mandatorily told them that either the father name or husband spouse name or the authorized representative. It is the mandatory field. So if you provide the authorized representative fee detail name of the authorized person, then the system is not throwing any error. So we have also, in fact, on the basis of the input received, we have put in an informational message also on the web form where we have categorically said that providing both the information, either the father name or the this thing, are mandatory. So the error is coming on both the fields. So if you provide any of one of the information, then the system will not allow you to proceed ahead.
Okay. And as regards the company, which is a registered owner, so the that radio button for CIN is not coming.
So I think it is already there. It is not a radio button. We are saying that the name of the registered owner. We are allowing them to proceed ahead with the company name also, sir.
Okay. Okay.
If somebody is facing any issue with regard to that, just you can take out the details, sir, and we can look into it.
Okay. We request all the delegates who are attending this webinar to please note the mail ID Companies Act 2013 at icsi.edu, and you can send your queries to us. We at ICSI will compile and submit all those queries to MCA for their looking into the matter. Then IPF e-verification is getting shown, but after checking on it, the forms are not getting generated, but the MCA service page is getting shown.
Sir, as I told you clearly that the nodal officer and deputy nodal officer who are there in the system, they are required to add that role in their business user profile. Unless and until they will do it, they will not be able to access this form. It is not an independent form. I'll reiterate once again, it is not an independent form. This form is required to be filed as a link form with IPF 5 form. So once you go and upgrade or add as a business user as nodal and deputy nodal officer, you will see a very beautiful dashboard for yourself where you'll be allowed to file IPF e-verification report, because once the IPF 5 form is filed by the claimant. And for V2 SRNs also, you will see them on your dashboard only. And as I told you, the dashboard has a capability of showing 250 SRNs, but if your SRNs are more than 250, it is not that it is lost somewhere. In this search functionality, if you put in that SRN, you'll be able to access that SRN, and against that, you'll be able to file e-verification report.
Okay. Okay. Query relating to that nodal officer, we have existing V3 ID for filing all normal V3 forms, and post launch of IPF V3, we have also added the role of nodal officer in the profile. However, we are unable to access the e-verification report.
Sir, I have not seen a use case like this. I have been educating people that they are required to do that. If that is the case, I would suggest that they will should raise a FO ticket, or they can come through us. We'll see that what is the problem with regard to them. Whether they, sir, it could be a possibility that he may have they with one email ID they have created, because that is what we have seen, that they have created multiple user logins, and because of that also system may be disallowing them to not to have a look into allowing them to proceed ahead with the e-verification report filing. So I would request that for these cases you're requested to share the requirement with you, or raise a ticket with you, as well as in the help desk also. Our team will surely get in touch with you, and we will personally also will look into it.
Okay, madam. Okay, thank you. Do we need to report if this query is relating to MSME? Do we need to report details of all invoices of a supplier in form MSME 1 if payment for only one invoice is pending, which is less than 45 days?
Sir, as of now, if you have got a you have got, I think that will be replied by Mishra sir. Mishra sir.
Because even during the presentation, I have seen
Huh.
that serial number 2 of your presentation on MSME, which was saying that even the payments of less than 45 days also needs to be
Sir,
reported.
in sir logic, the rule very the note the rule of 2019 clearly says that if you have a payment which is beyond the date of 45, then you are required to then you are required to submit the MSME form. The law remains the same. The law doesn't change. It is
Correct.
just that if you are having this thing, then any of the information which is there for less than 45 days, that also can be reported. So in this particular case, I don't think so that ME form is required to be filed by the stakeholder.
So it is confirmed now, madam, because in your presentation you mentioned that even 45
Sir,
days
we
or
will we will
less.
we will come back to you on this clarification also. But the note is very much clear that if you have a payment which is beyond the 45 days, and it is for the MSME
Law
companies,
requires
then
45
uh,
days or more.
uh,
And if the form is requiring 45 days or less, then everyone will end up reporting all the transactions with MSME, which would be a cumbersome job.
sir, we will.
That's correct, Sima, what
Uh,
Pawan is raising. But this is the requirement of that MSME ministry, that they are telling that you should be captured through this form. So there is a lot of debate on this also. So this
Okay, sir.
basically this requirement of that MSME ministry, not of corporate affairs. So we have to capture through this only.
Okay, but sir, law is not supporting. That is the issue.
And that will re-examine again.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Is it required to mandatorily attach MGT4 and MGT5 forms while submitting MGT6 on MCA V3 portal?
there is no change in functionality which has taken place in V2 and V3. So whatever was there in V2, it is required to be carried forward, sir. So
So
whatever
attach.
declaration which is required to be provided in N2, so it is a mandatory this thing attachment. But if you want to make, if it is a similar functionality, there is no change in the functionality which has taken place.
Okay, so the attachment will go MGT4 and
Hmm.
5. Okay.
Right.
While attempting to file MGT6 on the MCA portal, multiple issues is being faced. I'm just reading the query which I have received, which is resulting into missing the deadlines. Issues arose with entering the BOID received from the beneficial trust itself, with the portal indicating the IDs are invalid or that the PAN did not have the BOID. Following MCA's suggestion to proceed without the option forget BOID, we selected the option of forget BOID. Later, it was showing that the PAN does not matches with BOID.
Sir, I think the people are getting confused here between BOID and SBOID. There are
Okay.
two different identifiers. If somebody is using SBOID of which is with them, if they are using it in MGT6, it's not the purpose. BOID, in any case, none of the stakeholders will have a BOID as of now, because once you file MGT6, then only BOID will get generated. It was never a concept in V2. So it is a new ID. So maybe people are getting confused with SBO ID, which is entirely different from what is there in for BOID, sir.
Okay. So the delegates, please note that BOID is relating to beneficial interest in the MGT 456 functionality, section 89, and SBOID is related to section 90, which relates with beneficial interest, that is SBO. Madam, while filing the information in MGT 6, we are not able to fill body corporate information. MGT 6.
Sir, we will analyze this case and we will come back to you.
Thank
with
you,
regard
madam.
to this.
Thank you, madam. We have transferred dividend to IPF before this migration and now filed the IPF 7. Now, which is IPF 1, but status is showing pay miscellaneous fees. Kindly guide how to get approval of the same.
Sir, if they have already transferred the funds and they are now filing IPF 1, because system will show that it is pending for miscellaneous fee, because that is how it has been now created, sir. So, sir, they are required to approach IPFA so that the linkage of whatever funds which has been transferred, that will be communicated to us by IPFA. We will link that particular amount to that particular SRN, and on the basis of that they will be able to proceed ahead with the filing of IPF1.
Okay. How to approach IPFA, madam?
Sir, IPFA officer, either they can generate a ticket, or CRF form can be filed by them and we will route it to IPFA.
Okay.
IPF authority, and everybody is, I think, is aware of it.
Yeah, it is aware. We all are aware, but it is taking all the applications in either through emails, all the things, or we have to approach in person at IPFA.
Sir, either way will help, because we have already discussed this issue with them. So on the basis of their telling us to go ahead, we'll be able to attach those particular funds, because unless until those funds get attached or linked to this particular SRN, the system will keep on throwing the error. So it is requested them to get the validation done through IPF, and then we'll be able to do that, sir.
Can we include this in the CRF, madam? It would be helpful. The process can be made faster. Nothing else. Just a request.
Sir, that is for MCA to take a call.
Okay. We are unable to open or access IPF 5 e-verification report. Again, I think it is related to the same thing, e-verification report, which you have explained. So I will move to next question. To file MGT 6 on V3 portal, which is asking to fill distinctive numbers, we have covered this. We are unable to file the IPF e-verification report. How to submit the same? How to check? Madam, I think at the last, you please once again explain that IPF e-verification report wala thing, because many questions are on that. So before we end, I would request you to please revisit that e-verification report presentation from your side.
Yeah. So you want me to
No,
share a screen?
I'll complete my questions first, madam. Then I would request you. With respect to DIR3 KYC, do we need to attach the apostille copy of address proof of a foreign director for whom we intend to change only the phone number through filing of DIR3 KYC?
Sir, Vijaya, would you want to take it?
So can we take up this query separately? So because
Separately,
it is nothing to do with this webinar. So if you can share us the ticket number, we will respond to a ticket.
IPF forms which has been migrated to V3 portal are still not accessible.
IPF forms, sir, it is a similar thing that is a user awareness issue. As I told you very clearly, that IPF form 5 form will be accessible to the nodal officer or deputy nodal officer dashboard, for which they are required to upgrade or add the role of nodal officer or deputy nodal officer. Once they upgrade themselves, they will see this all the IPF form filed by the stakeholders in their application dashboard, sir.
Okay, madam.
Huh.
In MGT6, next question, madam. It asks about the number of registered owners. However, we want to file for let's say, for 4 different transactions for the same registered owner. Can we enter the number as 4 so that the 4 columns are populated? It is a suggestion.
Sir,
For
we'll take it up later. We'll analyze it and we'll come back to you on this.
yes, madam. Thank you. What if nodal officer is a director in one company and KMP of some other company? Will there be any alteration of earlier rights, or he can continue usage of V3 as director or KMP as in both the capacities? Director of one
Sorry,
company, and
director of one company and KMP of other company, then
will there be any alteration of earlier rights?
for what? Why there will be a alteration of any
The
rights?
login, in the login.
In the login, sir, sir, whenever you are adding a role, at one point of time you'll be able to or work against that particular role only. So if you want to go ahead, so you get yourself registered, add a role into it, as and when you are at one point of time, you'll be able to function as one role only. So if you have to go back to the other role, you have to shift over to the previous role. And since all those roles are added, so you don't have to do that. For nodal officer and deputy nodal officer, since nobody must have done it till date, that is why they are facing issue. So if there is a professional who's also a professional and a director, they'll have 2 roles added to his coffer, which they must be already practicing it, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Post launching of BAIN2 forms on V3, we are unable to fill in the details of ultimate beneficial owner in form BAIN2.
Sir, this was a bug we had seen in the initial days when the Bento had come into the picture. Now this thing stands fixed. Please tell them, the stakeholder, to proceed ahead and do the filing. In case he's again facing this issue, he's requested to approach us. We'll see it, that whether, because this bug was, we were aware of it, and I had seen it also with my I have also seen it. So we will see to it that this bug gets to our understanding, this bug got fixed. But if they are still facing issue, please let us know.
Surely, madam. Surely. Madam, IPF 5 related, indemnity bond and challan are not has not been generated after filing of IPF 5.
The format of this has already been provided. Radha, can you take it up?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Hello.
Indemnity bond is to be generated before submission of postal receipt. At the time of generation of SRN, user will get a mail on his email ID, and on in email ID, the acknowledgement mail, the indemnity bond is there. So just check, please ask to the user to check their email.
Okay.
Because yeah, indemnity bond is generated, sir.
Okay. So before postal receipt, we need to generate this, and it would be sent on the email.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, madam. BAIN2 unable to fill in the name of ultimate holding company, which is a mandatory field where the option is selected as individual has majority stake in the ultimate holding company of a member company.
Sir, this is a similar thing. I request that please tell the stakeholder to proceed ahead with the filing. In
Okay.
case he's still facing this issue, will let us know. We'll take it up, sir.
Thank you. Next, for the IPF 1, if we have to file multiple files of 5 MB, how these multiple Excel files will be linked for the total amount to be aligned with the amount mentioned in IPF 1? So you explained this, that this would be processed and it would be tallied
Yeah,
in.
and yes, it will be processed at the back end. Whatever amounts you have provided, the total of that Excel will be verified through the information what you have provided in the form. That will be verified. That will be done through system, sir.
So even though 10 Excel files are
correct.
Okay, great, madam. We have again IPF 1. We have not able to pay miscellaneous fees for IPF 1. Purpose is dividend transferred on shares transferred to IPF. Error is popping up, invalid purpose code.
Sir, You are kindly requested to share this concern with us. We will have a look into it, sir.
Thank you. Whoever has raised this query out of the delegates, please approach on the Companies Act 2013 at icsi.edu. We will take this up. MGT 6, every time the form got saved in first place, but at the time of submission, it shows an unknown error. And as after checking on submit, the MCA site stops, and then the save form also display blank. This is regarding MGT 6.
Sir, a very specific issue. Please, you take the details. We'll have a look into it.
Understood, madam. Understood. Then there are many queries. Few questions are repetitive in nature or similar in questions. So I am ignoring them. Whether the MSME form who would be generating BOID in the form MGT 6?
They'll be generated through system, sir.
Auto-generated.
Huh.
Okay.
Similarly, similar on the lines of SBOID, the way SBOID, if you are coming for the first time and filling it, SBOID gets generated automatically through system. Similarly, BOID will also get generated through the system, sir.
What is BCIN?
That is the bank's SIN number. So there are certain banks in our system which are registered as bank, this SBI or some other previous banks who have the BSIN. So for that the word terminology which has been used is BSIN.
Okay. MGT 6 query, what should be the format of mobile number? It keeps saying invalid mobile number after entering the valid mobile number.
So providing the MGT 6 may providing the country code and the mobile number. That is the way the form will be able to take it. But why it is shown as invalid, I have not seen any query of that sort, sir. Maybe a user's query. Please share the details with us, sir.
MGT 6, how to file the form when beneficiary owner is foreign company, as no button is given for body corporate in beneficiary tab.
Sir, this issue is again required to be revisited by us. You please share this with us and we'll see what is to be done about it, sir.
Okay. MGT 6, it is asking PAN verification for BO. In case of trust or company, is it mandatory to do?
Yes, it is mandatory validation.
Madam, what if the holding becomes 0?
Sorry?
What if the holding becomes 0 or nil?
Holding becomes 0 or nil means?
In MGT 6, let's say we are filing for, in BAN 2, we are creating.
Sir, I have told you that I have added one more purpose, that you can change in the holding reporting company. You can do that. That means you can seize that.
Okay.
Which was not there in V2, sir.
Okay. It can be seized and it can be reduced or increased also.
Correct.
Great. So, madam, with this, I have taken most of the questions. Few questions might be missed due to long list of questions the back office of ICSI is sending me. I would request before we close to take up that presentation again as regards. e-verification report,
Okay.
because many questions are on that, and I think it needs more deliberations.
Just let me know once my screen is visible, sir.
Definitely, madam.
1 minute. Without, acha, okay. Is it visible, sir?
Not yet.
एक minute, sir.
Now screen is visible.
Okay. Sir, PPT is also visible?
PPT is visible. Please start sharing. You can.
Okay. So, I will again give a clarification with regard to IPF 5 e-verification report. The IPF e-verification report 5 e-verification report is a link form to IPF 5 form, and it is not an independent form. You will not be able to upload or download or view the IPF 5 form, e-verification report through the MCA portal or portal validation. So the nodal officer or deputy, it is only available to the nodal officer and deputy nodal officer for filing. So nodal officer or deputy nodal officer who are not the business user yet are required to register themselves as a business user in the category of nodal oblique deputy nodal officers. Existing business users are required to upgrade or add to the role of nodal officer oblique deputy nodal officer to access IPF 5 form filed by the stakeholder and file IPF 5 EVR against the said form. Sir, we have also put that note exactly very clearly in the on the portal also, sir.
Okay.
And there is a ticker which is going on. It is for everybody's knowledge that they are required to add or upgrade the role of a nodal or deputy nodal officer to access the IPF 5 form and to file IPF 5 e-verification report against that particular IPF 5 form.
Okay.
I hope I'm clear, sir.
Yes, madam. Very much, very much. So you have covered and helped us really in a great way. And I'm sure the delegates who are attending this webinar through online mode must have get all the inputs from your side, and the nitty-gritties and the legalities and procedural formalities of all the forms, all the 9 forms. And I'm sure whatever queries we will receive from the stakeholders, we will forward all those queries to you, madam, for your consideration, with a request to help our members and stakeholders so that they can comply effectively and efficiently. To us, we are uh, just means I must say that we are very happy that you all find time today, especially Manoj Pandey sir, then Sanjay Jain ji, R.C. Mishra ji, Vivek ji, Mansi Gokhale madam, and you took us, Seema madam, you have done a wonderful job of taking us through all the presentation and answering to all the queries, and wherever you were not having the inputs, you clearly uh, asked us to raise this with the MCA or approach the other authorities. So we thank you for all the clarifications you have extended, provided, and the working of all these new 9 forms on the MCA V3 portal. It will help all the members and the stakeholders in a greater way. And uh, we also wish that there would not be many technical issues because of extensive UAT which MCA has done this time again. And if anything is there, we will definitely come back to you with our submissions and the difficulties which the stakeholders are facing. With this, I thank all of you for finding time, taking this initiative, accepting the request of ICSI. I thank CS Manish Gupta, who is heading CNGC committee of ICSI and coordinating on behalf of ICSI with MCA under the able guidance of our beloved president, CSB Narasimhan sir and VP Dhananjay Shuklaji and all the council members. We thank you all and we thank the directorate at the back end who are tirelessly compiling all the things and putting it across the MCA various heads for the benefit of all. With this, that is all from ICSI's side. If you want to wish to share anything else, the forum is open, madam. Manish Pandey, sir. Okay. So I think we can declare that this webinar is over with a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who were present today and shared their insights and knowledge with us, our members, our delegates who are attending this webinar. And with this thank you note, I declare that this webinar is over. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.